Hi guys, greetings of the day. Myself, Professor Vijetha Vardhan. Please welcome to my YouTube channel to learn the subject called as engineering graphics. Now, in this session, we are going to have a discussion on how to solve a problem manually in your sketchbooks on a problem called as projection of solids. And an example is like this: the hexagonal prism 25 millimeter sides of base and 50 millimeter axis length rests on HP on one of its corners of the base, such that the two base edges containing the corner on which it rests make equal inclinations with HP. Draw the projections of the prism when the axis of the prism is inclined to HP at 40 degree and VP at 30 degree. Now let me show you how exactly the solid is going to be positioned as per the given conditions. Now you guys can see that this is called as the hexagonal prism, which is having a base shape of hexagon. That's why we call it as a hexagonal prism. And now this is the surfaces and this is one of the longer edge. This is the corner. And like this, we have a hexagonal prism. Now, according to the given condition, it is supposed to be rested on one of its corners like this. When it is inclined to HP at an angle of 40 degree, now you can see it is going to be resting on a base corner and the adjacent edges which are connected to this, that is 1 and 2, these two edges makes equal inclination. Condition will be satisfied automatically. One need not to be worried about it. Then first inclination will be taken with respect to the 40 degree and then VP at 30 degree. But however, the axis is inclined to both the planes, henceforth the beta construction is supposed to be done. Now let me show you how to do it in your booklets. Now to go with a corner resting hexagon, one has to go for a compass. Then take the compass. In the compass, make sure that you are using the 2H pencils and the radius value of the compass must be set to 25. Now one can ask why 25 mm is necessary, because the side length of the hexagon is 25. So we have to construct a circle of 25 mm sides first like this. Now I'm going to position a circle over here with the 2H pencils. Once the circle is drawn, now using a scale, now what you are supposed to do, from one of the corners like this to this, that is nothing but horizontal diameter is supposed to be generated. Then you go for a compass and without changing the radius of 25 millimeter, then what you are supposed to do, keep it at the right corner of the diameter what you have drawn and draw an arc like this. Again, without changing the radius. Now at the bottom of the circumference of the circle, draw one more arc. And repeat the same procedure on the left hand side and draw an arc on both the sides of the circumference, which I am showing right now. Now, the moment you are going to draw an arc like this, you are going to get the 6 different corners. Now, using your HB pencils, starting from any of the corner out of the 6 corner, start joining all the lines whose length will be always equal to 25 millimeter. This is how one has to draw the construction of a hexagon. Now, once the hexagon construction is finished, then using your pencil and scale, start giving the annotations like AA1, BB1, CC1, DD1, EE1, FF1, and to get the axis position using the 2H pencils. Now you can see one of the diagonal of the hexagon is already drawn. Now draw one more diagonal. That diagonal will fetch you the position of the axis. Now I'm going to complete the annotation parts. Then I'm going to show you next steps. And these things I'm going to stop the video here to save the time in the video. Now you guys can see I have completed the annotation parts like the longer edges, 6 longer edges and 12 base corners, and also the axis position has been identified here. Now we know that for the longer edges, we can observe here all the longer edges what we are having over here. These longer edges has to be represented properly. That is AA1, BB1, CC1, DD1, EE1, and FF1, which I am going to show you and complete it properly. Now, make use of your HB pencils. Now, in the question, it is clearly mentioned that the height of the solid is 50 millimeter. Now, from AA1, measure 5 boxes. Measure 5 boxes vertically like this. Now with this projector also measure 5 boxes, and from this edge also measure 5 boxes, again from this corner also measure 5 boxes. And then without forgetting, make sure that you are going to complete the base at the top as well as the bottom like this. Now for the axis position, you are supposed to use the 2H pencils and then show the axis over here in the form of a chain line like this. Now this completes the front view and this completes the top view. Now I'm going to complete the annotation part and then I'm going to show you to save the time in the video over here. Yes, now you guys can see that I have completed the annotation part for the bottom base as well as the top base with respect to the respective corners. Now we are going to rotate this solid in the clockwise direction. The moment we are going to rotate it in the clockwise direction, it is going to be rested on the corner D1 dash. Now let me position the D1 dash over here using a pencil, and then using a pencil you can mark this point as D1 dash. Now with respect to the axis, it is supposed to be inclined at an angle of 40 degree. Now the base inclination is going to be inclined at an angle of 50 degree. That is 90 minus theta, that is 90 minus 40, that is the base inclination. Now this base, you can observe that it is horizontal. This line is supposed to be inclined at an angle of 50 degree. Now for which, what are the things to be done? Now let me show you. Keep the protractor at the position D1 dash, and in this direction, that is in the clockwise direction, you are supposed to measure 100, you are supposed to measure an angle of 50 degree. Now after drawing a line of 50 degree like this, now you can make sure that the axis, not the axis inclination, the base inclination is 50 degree like this. But you are not supposed to show the 50 degree here because base is not inclined to us, axis is inclined to us. Henceforth, you are not supposed to mark the 50 degree there, but however on the 50 degree line you are supposed to draw an arc. And afterwards, what you are going to do is measure the corner D1 dash to A1 dash using the compass. I repeat, measure the corner D1 dash to A1 dash using the compass. Now with D1 dash as a center, just draw an arc over here. Now you will see that the position of the arc is going to be named as A1 dash. Now in the same fashion, to get the corner of A dash and D dash using the same arc technique, that is using the compass, measure D1 dash to D dash like this and taking that value as a radius, then with D1 dash as a center, we are supposed to draw an arc like this. Now I'm going to draw an arc over here. So it has not obtained properly. Now let me repeat it. Now using the compass, using D1 dash, and without changing the radius, you are supposed to draw an arc like this. Similarly, A1 dash A dash is also 50 mm. Henceforth, without changing the radius, again you are supposed to draw one more arc like this. Now to get the exact position of A dash and D dash, one can measure the distance from D dash to B dash like this using the compass. Now once you get this information, this dimension, then keep the compass at D1 dash and without changing the radius. Now what you are supposed to do is you are supposed to draw an arc like this and repeat the same step, keeping the compass center at A1 dash without changing the radius. Draw one more arc over here like this. Now these intersections will be marked as A dash and this will be marked as D dash. Now using your pencil, complete the boundary, and then whatever the corners B dash, F dash, O dash, C dash, E dash, and at the bottom B1, F1, O1, C1, E1, everything should be transferred here. I'm going to complete it and then I'm going to show it to you guys to save the time in the video over here. Now you guys can see that I have completed the annotation part. Now since the axis is inclined to HP at 40 degree, now keep the scale which is parallel to the axis position O dash and O1 dash and extend this line towards the XY line and connect it to the XY line like this. Then using pencil, now you are supposed to show that this is inclined at an angle of 40 degree. Now after drawing these things, what are the things to be followed now? Now you are supposed to apply the rules of visibility. Before applying the rules of visibility, we need to get the top view in this position after the inclination of 40 degree. Now, how to get that one? Now, make use of a scale and a pencil with 2H pencils preferably. With D1 dash, you are going to draw the projectors vertically towards the top view like this. And in the same fashion, the corner D dash is also going to be projected like this. Now, you can locate a point for the intersection of these two things like this, and then this can be named as the corner D. Now, in the same fashion, all the 12 corners has to be projected till the top view projectors are going to be obtained, and repeat the same procedure and obtain all the respective corners. Till then, I'm going to stop the video over here to save the time. Yes guys, now you can see that I have already completed the necessary projectors from the horizontal and vertical, but here I forgot to draw the horizontal projector. Now let me draw and complete the horizontal projectors. Now you can see after completing the annotation parts like which are the corner A, B, C, D, E, F and A1, B1, C1, D1, F1 and the axis position O1 and O. Now let us apply the rules of visibility. Now what the first point says, boundary lines are always visible. Now take your pencil and a scale, that is pencil should be HB pencil, starting with A, connected to B1 which is going to be the boundary, and after B1 it goes to C, B and C. So up to C we can connect it as a boundary, and then we can connect it to D, then followed by E, then up to F1 it is going to be a continuous line, and then A1. So this forms the boundary here. Now you can see when the object is inclined at an angle of 40 degree with respect to the axis, now the observer will be seeing the object from the top to get the top view. Now when the observer is above the object, the top base is visible. Next, the second point says that identify the visible base, make those base edges as visible. Now we are identified the top base is visible and we have to show it as visible. Now using your HB pencil, the top base edges which are not on the boundary should be shown as the dark lines using your HB pencils like this. Next, the third point says the identify the invisible base. When the top base is identified as visible, obviously the bottom base will become invisible. Now, these bottom base edges which are not on the boundary line must be shown as invisible. That is, E1 to D1 and D1 to C1 should be shown as a dashed lines like this using your scale and the HB pencils. And then at last, the last point says that such of the longer edges, either partially or completely, passing through the visible base are invisible and vice versa. So according to this, now one can see that the longer edge BB1, CC1, EE1 as well as FF1 forms the boundary. Only the longer edge AA1 and DD1 should be connected. Now let us understand how to do the remaining steps. Now, if I am going to connect the longer edge DD1 like this, now you can see it passes inside the visible base. Henceforth, this DD1 is supposed to be drawn as a hidden line like this. And then one more edge is there. Now that edge, that is longer edge AA1, when you are going to see the longer edge AA1, it is partially passing through the invisible base. Henceforth, this is going to be the visible base. Now, in this visible edge, we are going to draw. Now one can see that according to the rules of visibility, the top view is completed in all aspects. Then one can make sure that using a chain line, that is nothing but the axis has to be represented from O to O1 like this. Of course, here the axis is not going to be visible even though if you draw or not going to draw, but however, these 2 points is necessary to us. Now, after that, now one can see that the HP inclination 40 degrees is finished. Now, VP inclination 30 degree has to be completed. Now here, the VP inclination angle phi is given as 30 degree, but unfortunately, the length of the axis is getting reduced. Now one can see that in the initial stage, the length of the axis is not shown. Now, sorry, let me show you the dimension parts, which is omitted. Okay. Now I'm going to just show the dimension as 25 mm is the hexagon, 50 is the axis height. Now you can see the axis height is measuring as 50 millimeter. The moment we are going to measure the axis when it is going to be inclined, one can see that the length of the axis is reduced. The length of the axis is no more 50 millimeter, it is somewhere around 38.3 millimeter. Now we are supposed to construct the apparent angle. Now let me show you how to construct the apparent angle. Now take your scale and pencil and make sure that construct a line which is parallel to XY line like this. And now keep a point anywhere on this line and then draw a line which is inclined like this at an angle of 30 degree. At an angle of 30 degree, you are supposed to draw a constructional line like this. Now, this line, if you are going to measure it, this is going to measure an angle of 30 degree, which is called as true angle. And after getting that one, using a point, that is using a pencil, locate a point anywhere on this 30 degree line. And after drawing locating a point over there, you can mark this point as O1. Once the O1 point is marked, now measure the actual distance of axis length, that is O1 using your compass. Next, keep the compass at O1. Then without changing that radius, one has to draw a constructional arc over here like this. Once this constructional arc is completed, then one has to draw the locus line over here. The moment we are going to complete the locus, then here this point is going to be called as the O of true length. Okay. Next, to get the O of apparent length, then again using the compass, what we are supposed to do is measure the distance from O1 to O. Measure the distance of O1 to O using the compass. Then keeping the compass at O1 and without changing the radius, now one has to draw an arc over here. Now this is the exact point of O, which is nothing but the required point. Now this is the line what we have to draw. Now this line is going to represent the axis position, that is axis is inclined to VP at 30 degree with respect to an apparent inclination. Now using your scale, one can extend this line till the XY line like this. The moment you are going to extend it, then using your protractor, measure what is the angle over here. Now this angle is going to be treated as angle beta. For this particular problem, it is measuring as 41 degree. Now once you get the position of O1 and O with respect to these 2 points, that is O and O1, with respect to these 2 points, we are supposed to transfer all the remaining points over here. Now how to do that one? Now let me show you using the arc method, that is nothing but using the compass. Measure the distance of O1 to F1. Measure the distance of O1 to F1. Now with O1 as the center, draw an arc over there. Now I repeat, with O1 as the center and taking the same radius, draw an arc over here, that is O1 to F1. To get the position of F1 properly, again keep the compass at O1. Again keep the compass at O1. Now from O1, measure the distance of F1. Measure the distance of F1. Now with keeping the compass at O in the third stage, without changing the radius, draw an arc over here. Now this intersection point will be treated as the corner F1. Now in the same fashion, you are supposed to transfer all the remaining corners, that is B1, C1, D1, E1, F1 and A, B, C, D, E, F in the same fashion over here, which I am going to complete it and show it to you guys to save the time over here in the video. Yes guys, now you can see that I have reconstructed the same image which is obtained at the second stage top view as reconstructed at the third stage top view for the given conditions with respect to the beta angle of 41 degree. And then to get the front view, whatever the procedure we have drawn, we have selected the same procedure as should be done for the third stage also. That is, using your 2H pencils, Select any one of the corner. Now let me select the corner C. Now let me draw the projector of C vertically like this. And in the same fashion from the previous stage front view also, you are supposed to get the corner C horizontally projected. It should be taken like this. Now the intersection point has to be marked as the corner C dash. Now using your pencil, complete the point of C dash. Once it is finished, repeat the same procedure for all the points, draw the projectors and mark it. Now I'm going to pause the video here, then I'm going to complete it and show it to you guys to save the time in the video over here. Yes guys, now you can see that I have completed all the projectors and marked the respective corners properly. And here, when you get the prisms in the examination, you should be very cautious and be very careful, because the reason is more number of projectors and more number of points you are going to locate it, which may be a confusing part. So please be careful while solving the problem over here, especially in the third stage front view. Now, we are supposed to complete the solid in the front view. So by applying the rules of visibility. Now, the first rule says that boundary lines are always visible. Now, according to the rule, now let us discuss what are the boundary lines. Now, using your HB pencils, starting with the corner A dash, you can connect B dash as a boundary, then followed by C dash. Then if it is a D dash is a boundary or C1 dash is a boundary, you have to make a trial and error. So you can see that D dash is going outside, henceforth D dash is going to be the boundary. Then followed by C dash or D1 dash. Now you can see D1 dash is going to be the boundary over here, not the C1 dash. Now again continue work that E1 dash is going to be the boundary, then followed by F1 dash, and then whether it is F1 dash or A dash, yes, obviously F dash is going to be the boundary, and then connect it to A dash. Now this is what the boundary, what we can see. Next, it will says that identify the visible base and make those base edges as visible. Now according to this, we have to identify which is the visible edge. Now the observer will be standing at this location. So now for the observer, the bottom base A1, B1, C1, D1, E1, F1 is nearer, hence those base edges are visible. Then make those base edges as visible. Now, also the third point says that identify the invisible base and make those base edges as invisible. When the bottom base is visible, obviously the top base is invisible. Now, let me show you how to complete the remaining problem. Now, using your scale, now we have identified the bottom base is visible, that is bottom base A1 dash, that is F1 dash to A1 dash as a visible edge, and then A1 dash to B1 dash as a visible edge, then D1, C1 dash is going to be the visible edge. Now you can see the visible base is completed as visible edges. Now the other edge is obviously invisible. Using your HB pencils, show it as a discontinuous line, that is nothing but the hidden lines format. We are supposed to draw the lines like this, that is F1 dash to F dash to E dash, E dash to D dash is going to be the invisible edges. And after this, such of the longer edges either partially or completely passing inside the visible base are invisible. According to that, now let us connect FF1. FF1 is a boundary line. It is always visible. Now, even if I am going to connect, now you can say it is going to pass inside the visible base, hence it must be invisible edge. Now in the same fashion, D1 if I am going to connect, it is passing inside the visible base, hence that line is going to be the invisible. But however, since the corners are too nearer with respect to the position of the solid, even though it is invisible, we cannot show it properly. And then the longer edge BB1, which is passing partially inside the invisible base, hence this must be visible. Now you can see all the longer edges we have already connected. Now at last, the axis has to be represented for axis position O dash and O1 dash like this. Now here axis is also, when we are going to draw, is going to be overlap, so it is also not going to be seen properly. Now one can say that the problem is completed. Now one more edge is there. That edge is nothing but the other edge A1 is supposed to be connected. Now let me connect the A1 like this. Now one can see that the problem is completed in all aspects. Now if you are having any sort of doubts to solve this problem, you can call me at any point of time and my details is provided over here. Now I can say that the problem is completed in all aspects. Now if you have liked this video, please press the like button and share this video to all your first year engineering students, and you can subscribe and you can press the bell icon to receive the latest video uploads as and when it is going to be done in my YouTube channel. Once again, thank you very much, my dear friends, for watching the video over here.